continued nice weather with a lot of sun for the next couple of days. Starting kind of cold, feels like winter out there certainly right now. We will feel quite a bit warmer tomorrow and again on Thursday. And then on a Friday, we have a bit of a mixed bag precipitation wise. We're going to talk about the details of that. Doesn't look like a huge precipitation event either way. We're going to get a little bit of rain, a little bit of snow, maybe a little bit of a mix in between there too, but probably mostly either rain or snow. Not a lot of accumulation, although some slushy accumulation is possible on Friday. So let's take a look at all the details. Lots going on. Although not to start, you can see as we go on satellite across the country, it's pretty barren basically across the country cloud-wise. That's why we're going to have a couple of cloud-free days. There's a few clouds just to our north, a little bit of a small boundary layer, but essentially it's leading to pretty much full sun today. It could be a couple of clouds around, but basically the full sun today. And then by tomorrow evening, we start to move in a few more clouds, but again, not that many. Mostly sunny again tomorrow, before eventually this system out to our west redevelops across the central part of the country and makes a run at us in our direction. One low pressure is going to go well to our north, but then we're going to redevelop a low pressure system along the coast. That's going to give us the opportunity to change some light rain into some light snow. It's going to develop a little too far east to give us get us an intense storm. Down east Maine might see that, but we're definitely not going to have to worry about that. Overall, this is not a high impact weather event, but there will be some impacts from it. In terms of radars, you can see the same kind of thing. There is this kind of weak boundary layer that I would not draw the front exactly where they've got it there. So, and none of this is hitting the ground. There's not even really many clouds associated with some of this. This is some low-level moisture coming off the lakes, essentially, with a little bit of the boundary. But essentially, we're right underneath high pressure. That's why we cooled off a lot last night. Clear skies lead to a lot of radiational cooling. Essentially, when we have clouds, they act like a blanket over the over us. And so when there's no clouds, no blanket, that means that it gives lots of opportunity for all of that heat to radiate back out to space. So that happens particularly well when we have snow cover, which we do, although the snow cover is not real deep, but we do have some snow across most areas in southern Vermont, especially the higher elevations. Some of the low elevations are kind of spotty with their snow, but you can see here's kind of the all of these kind of multitude of systems out to the west are eventually going to feed into the system that starts to make a run at us on Friday, but still not even in the genesis stage really yet, even in the beginning stages of that yet, which is why there's still some details to work out with that forecast. If we take a look at the upper level, you can see while we here across the northeast are just getting into some of this colder air, right? This is sort of Canadian air that has moved over the top of us. We do have pretty good winds aloft, even though we don't have winds at the surface really right now. We have pretty good winds aloft, but you can see we've got a lot of decent of a ridge to our west. That's going to start to head in our direction over the next couple of days, which is going to warm the temperatures aloft, and it'll warm the temperatures at the surface as well. And then before we eventually do get our next system to go, there is cold air to tap. We're going to take a look at that. Matter of fact, let's take a look at that right now. There is plenty of cold air to our north to tap, and we've seen a bit of that. Like I said, just to our north in Quebec, a lot of 20 below zero readings. We are not going to get any of that, but again, single numbers this morning. It was cold out there, felt like winter, which we haven't had a lot of. It feels like real winter too much. Haven't had a lot of tremendously warm weather, although we've had some pretty warm weather. But we've had a lot of days where temperatures are kind of a few degrees above normal and the lows are a few degrees above normal. But not a lot of days when we've been and we've had some colder weather in the single numbers, but not any really below zero weather. Nobody's complaining about that. Nobody really roots for 20 below zero in Vermont. I mean, if you do, yeah, you shouldn't. It's no fun. But anyways, feels cold this morning. You can see, though, out to our west, warmer, and as our system gets going here across the central part of the country, it is going to push some of that southwest flow towards us, which means that we will get some of these temperatures, these 30s and 40s, will head in our direction over the next couple of days. Let's take a look at kind of how that system progresses. So by Thursday midday, here's our storm. It's kind of over Missouri, headed in our direction. You can see we've got the warm front, and eventually the flow by this point will be from the southwest. Thursday, we're probably in the 40s. You'll see that when we get to the forecast. But this system, we're going to see how it evolves, and that's going to show us how we're going to get, you'd think, all rain out of this system because it's coming from the southwest and it's going to go to our west, right? A system that goes through western New York. We're already warm, and we're not precipitating yet. The precipitation doesn't really come through until it kind of comes through as a front. We're going to show that in a minute. But everything's to our west at this point, but temperatures are warm overnight Thursday, although we probably will be clear Thursday night. That will play a pretty big role in whether or not how much snow, how quickly we transition to snow. on Thursday night into Friday. There's a couple things at play. And again, either way, we're not talking big snow. Even if we change over quicker, we're talking about maybe a couple of inches instead of 1 inch, right? So I think that's sort of the realm of possible outcomes. But Thursday overnight, we are clear. So even though we've moved the warm front through, we probably do fall back down to around freezing after temperatures in the 40s on Thursday. But then as those clouds come in, they kind of hold the temperatures in that area. And if we only come up, we'll start definitely as rain, and we can see the front kind of moving through here. That one low pressure system races to the north, and then we start to redevelop a secondary low here. And what's going to happen is, as the front that is associated with this storm starts to come through, there's colder air behind, and if temperatures don't get too warm on Friday morning, because we've got clouds kind of holding those temperatures in the low to mid 30s. And then we get this storm to develop. It just needs to tap a little bit of colder air, and certainly aloft it needs to tap a little colder air so that we change whatever is falling as rain and light rain showers over to light snow. So by Friday midday, we are probably in that transition process. I think whatever falls probably before 9-10 o'clock in the morning will be in the form of showers. Whatever's falling by midday is probably in a transition between rain and snow, depending on elevation. And again, this is not a big hitter either way. Whoops, before we get the forecast. By Friday overnight, now the storm really is starting to wrap up, but it's too far east of us to really wrap moisture back in our direction. Could still be getting some flurries at this point. Whatever we have by now will definitely, by Friday overnight, will definitely be transitioning to snow, will be all snow. And there could be some pretty good snow going in down east Maine. But for the rest of us across New England, and particularly for us here in southern Vermont, we are just going to miss the significant part of this storm. So what does that look like in terms of the overall forecast? Today's cold, feels cold, upper 20s. A nice day to ski though, nice bluebird day. Just need to bundle up a little bit if you're out there today. Tonight, we cool off pretty significantly once again with those clear skies, temperatures in the teens. Not as cold, probably 5 to 10 degrees warmer than we were last night. Tomorrow, temperatures jump about 10 degrees. We're up in the mid to upper 30s. Pretty nice. Valley locations could get close to 40. We're going to see a decent amount of sun on Wednesday. And this is probably closer to full sun than it is the mix of sun and clouds. We cool off again with some clear skies one more night. And if you've tapped out, you probably get a good sap run probably. Wednesday, okay. And then Thursday, a pretty good run after starting in the low 20s. We move to the mid to upper 40s. Valley locations could push upper 40s on Tuesday. Depending on exactly how much sun we get. And I think we'll get a decent amount of sun. We start off Thursday night clear. I think that helps temperatures actually fall pretty well back into the upper 20s before clouds really dominate after midnight. But those clouds will kind of help keep that cooler air in. And so Friday, I've just got us as a mix of precipitation temperatures in the mid 30s on average. They'll be kind of falling, especially in the afternoon when we have that better chance of changing to snow. And then overnight, we keep the clouds, but the system is to our east. But we do cool off pretty significantly as that system does tap some colder air. Saturday, probably the beginning of the weekend, Saturday looks breezy with that system heading to our east, but starting to clear out on Saturday. So just to kind of give you an idea of what the weekend is starting to look like. Let's take a look at those highlights. Oops, let's go to the right button here. Let's look at the weekend highlights. Lots of sun early in the week with a warming trend. Temperatures begin wintry with temps in the 20s today and in the 40s by Thursday. Friday brings a mixed bag of precipitation with rain changing to snow. How much rain versus how much snow is still to be determined, and some small slushy accumulations are likely, but accumulations look light overall. All right, that's the forecast. I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons. They help support what I do here at the West River Weather Guy. If you're interested in becoming a patron, you can click on the link in the description below. It talks about what it means or what the benefits that patrons get. They get an extra forecast always on Wednesday. I do a 10-day forecast for some patrons, for some levels of patrons on Wednesday as well. And there's a couple different levels. You can take a look and see what's there. Oh, and if you want if you want things emailed to you, all my forecasts emailed to you, if you don't like to have to search for them or anything like that, I have a Patreon level where you can do that too. So those are different things that you can get as a patron. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel before, I'd encourage you to do so. So make sure you don't miss any of my videos and like the video. That helps other people to see it. If you've got any questions or anything like that, I try to get back to all the comments. So feel free to ask questions in the comments of the YouTube video. That's the best way to get a hold of me. All right. And otherwise, thanks for supporting the channel. I will be back on Friday with a look at your weekend forecast. Again, that's Friday. With a look at your weekend.